Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. We are on the final episode. Can you believe we're already here? Tamar, Get Your Life, the final word. Oh my. Boy, let's get into this review. I really don't even know where to start at with this review. To be completely honest with you all, I was taken back. It was awkward, but I think necessary. So let's get into it. All right, so the show opens with Tamar and David sitting down. Of course, in the opening credits of the show, they let us know that Goldie was no longer working on the show, which we kind of figured it, right? After last week's episode. Okay. So David and Tamar, they're in the kitchen, and Michael, the producer, he just kind of want to get their take on really Tamar's take. So they're in the kitchen. Michael, the producer, he asks Tamar, what was her overall feelings about the show, the documentary? And David, he shared his input. He said he felt like it was very intrusive. He said that he couldn't go to the bathroom without someone being in there. He couldn't go change a shirt without someone being there. He just said he felt it was very intrusive. He also said they had the thing that was going on with Vince that needed to get cleared up. He says, but other than that, Tamar, what's your take? And Tamar was like, I don't know. I feel like it's not the best reality TV show that she's ever done. And she said she feels like that it could be. She knows she's used to filming, so she kind of knows that there was not a whole lot to work with in this situation, especially with what the potential this show had the ability to do. I honestly thought that we were going to be able to see Tamar venture to her getting to a better version of herself. But it seems like we saw lots of blockage, lots of things that just kind of kept her where she's at. But then again, we got to remember it's a 6-week show, so you're not going to make a full transformation in 6 months. 6 weeks. So they sit down for dinner, and this is where they have the discussion about Goldie. Tamar shared that she felt like she was caught in the middle, kind of like the same thing with Vince, right? She felt like she was caught in the middle. She said she felt like she was caught in the middle between David and Goldie and having to choose a side. And David was like, no, you didn't really have to choose. She said, I know, but it kind of felt like, I was in the middle. She says, and then, things just kind of blew up. She said, I don't think there was anything wrong with you asking questions. And if Goldie could not articulate what her profession is, then she should have, went back, regrouped, came back and, explained versus, blowing up. And then David shared with Tamar that he said, you didn't know this, but me and my family, we were praying. We prayed and we prayed and we prayed. And through the power of prayer, where's Goldie? Prayer works. So she kind of chuckled and told him he was being shady. She said, even when you're not trying to be shady, you shady. So anywho, then it cuts to Tamar going out to eat with a friend. This gave us insight into some additional off-camera actions that was taking place. She had went to her sister's Trina's bachelorette party, and she was like talking about how she felt, what could have been done differently. And she felt like, at this point that they should have been doing the bachelorette and bachelor party together. She felt like it could have, been different. But then it's also give us an opportunity for her friend to ask about Goldie. She answered. She let him know that she feels like Goldie served her purpose in her life. And now, Goldie's gone, which is fine. She says Goldie was here and she served her purpose. And that's true. Sometimes we have people in our lives for a reason or for a season. So there's some folks that's going to be on this journey with us a whole lot longer. And then some people, it's going to be short, but they serve their purpose. And then it's time for them to move on. And then after she shared that, it showed her cutting over to Micah and was like, did you ask my friend to ask me this question? So then it kind of give us an insight of how that the trust just continuing to deteriorate between her and the production. Because then Michael's like, I promise you, I did not ask him to ask you that. And she was giving him a side eye like, yeah, I know how these shows work. So the Braxton Family Values is taping at the same time, and we're not able to see some of the stuff that's happening on that show. We're seeing the effects of some of that stuff coming into play on Tamar's show, as well as her show, the show that she's currently filming, and not going the way that she had anticipated going. And all of that is really starting to take a toll on Tamar, and she is starting to withdraw more and more and more. We see where she canceled her hair and makeup appointment, and she came in there just like, she came in there her true authentic self, no makeup, cap. And when she got there, they had been waiting all day for her to come into film. She got there, they said about like 6:49, and she told them that she has to leave at 7. So she sat there for maybe like 10 minutes. And when 7:01 came, she was like, oh, okay, I gotta go. I don't know what is going on. It was just so weird. And then Michael, he calls Mona and was like, Mona, I don't know what's going on. We're losing Tamar. We're losing her. We need you to step back in. So Mona was like, okay, she was going to talk with David, and because David has been a central character in this whole Tamar documentary. So she meets up with David, and she asks David, what's going on? She goes to David's workplace, asks David what's going on. And David was like, there's a lot of stuff that's going on, at the wedding, because now the wedding has happened. At the wedding, something went on between Tamar and her other sister, the one that she's having friction with. And things got really, really bad. He said she had, in the middle of the wedding, Tamar's feet was hurt, so she went to go change shoes, and she ended up in the same room with this sister, and it got really bad. He said he thought it was a great opportunity for them to talk. He said, here, Tamar, your sister's here. Let's talk. Talk to your sister. Talk to your sister. And she said this other sister wasn't ready. She had so much anger and rage in her. She grabbed Tamar by the hair, and then she took her hand and pulled it back. It was sound like it was just really nasty. And then he told Mona, he said it comes a point that on a fine line between what's going on in their personal life and this reality TV. I mean, you can either get good TV and their relationship is just going to crumble more, or you can respect that privacy and let them handle that, on their own course of timing. He just kind of was telling her that with reality TV, that it can add fuel to the fire. And Mona was like, wait a minute, David, before you try to check me, I've been doing this reality TV. So let me tell you a thing or two. In all due respect, this is reality TV. And if there is some stuff that needs to be worked through mentally, emotionally, that needs to happen off camera, then Tamar should have never signed up for this. She wasn't ready to sign up for it. She shouldn't have signed up for it, because we're doing our job. I mean, she's right. Reality TV is reality TV. And we have seen some of the outcomes of that. So David was just sitting there like, oh, okay. So then Tamar and Mona, they have a sit down, which was interesting. Mona, I caught the shade. You had on a shirt that said positive vibes. So for her sit down with Tamar, they came in. Tamar felt like there was a lot of stuff that was missing. She's like, I don't feel like I got what I needed to get out of it. It was so many other shenanigans going on. I feel like the focus of the show was lost. I feel like it was a bunch of wasted time. And then Mona was like, I get what you're saying. You wanted to tell your story. We were supposed to see you handle things differently, just based off of new approaches, way that you was going to approach relationships, the way you was going to approach your career, just different aspects of your life. And we didn't really get a chance to see a completion full circle of that. We didn't get a chance to see that. You started your dream work. The dream work did not, it was incomplete. And she was like, well, Mona, and Mona was like, is there any way we could pick back up with that? And she was like, Mona, Goldie kind of tied my hands. She came in there, she cussed David out, and she said that he didn't cast a spell on her. She said, there's no going back. I mean, my hands are tied with that. No, we can't do that. She said, okay, well then let's focus on your sister, the relationship with your sister. David had started down the road of trying to mend the relationship between you and your sister. Is there a way we can revisit that? And then Tamar was like, no, we can't do that because she's not ready. She's not ready. I feel like I was trying to get to a point where I could sit down and talk to her, but if the other party is not ready, then what can I do? And that's true. It's true. You can only be responsible for yourself. If somebody else is not ready, just like with Tamar, there was times on the camera she wasn't ready. And if she wasn't ready, you can't get her there overnight. It's a process. So it's a process. This other sisters carrying years and years worth of resentment and hurt and stuff that she done buried down that is now just starting to resurface back up because she's never dealt with it. And it's going to take her some time to sort that out. But Tamar can be there for her when she's ready, but she can't make her be ready. Mona was like, well, so here we are. So, she's like, I know you want to see some footage, so I'm going to let you see, the footage. And as Tamar was watching the footage, Tamar was like, like, y'all caught all of that. I don't think that Tamar knew that they had took all that behind the scenes stuff and added that into the show, which made it a full circle for the viewers, for us to understand, the whole dynamics of what was going on. And I think that she feel like that was portions that she didn't know was going to be on the show. And she felt a little betrayed by that. She's like, okay, I'm trusting y'all with my story and this is what you do. And then I also think that there was that embarrassment of, how things just kind of got out of control and she wasn't able to get back in the driver's seat. And I think that is a great example of what's going on probably in her life. There's things that she has in mind that she wants to see come into fruition, but because of all of this other noise in her life, she loses focus of the driver's seat, and then instead of her being proactive in situations, then she's ended up being reactive. How many of us then went through that? Right? So she really then at that point really completely shuts down. She's feeling more and more betrayed. She felt like if anyone that she could have trusted with her story, it would have been Mona, because she felt her and Mona had that kindred spirit. She felt like they had a connection. She felt like Mona could have supported her in this journey. Mona tried her best from her production standpoint and shoes to try to help her to guide this storyline. But unfortunately, in this 6 weeks, we just see that we didn't get that. And when I first looked at the show, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be really hard for me to review this show. Let me end with when she had to do her exit interview. When she had to do her exit interview, she was completely broken. As they did her makeup and hair, she was watching the first 2 shows that was going to air. And she was just like, oh my God. So when they got out of there, she would not answer any of Michael's questions. And Michael was like, come on, Tamar, come on, Tay, give me something to work with. And she was like, oh, no, you're not going to do this to me. You're not going to, don't do that. And he's like, no, Tamar, you taking it wrong. She said, don't act like over the 6 weeks that I didn't show up. I mean, I did show up. And he was like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, I need you to talk to me. So she had walked off, and apparently her lawyers was like, no, Tamar, you got to do this exit interview. It was probably part of her contract, and if she didn't do it, she was going to get sued. So she did do an exit interview where she was like, she felt like the reason why she wanted to do the show is because, she had a story. She know that people experiencing difficult situations and circumstances as she was going through. And she felt like it was it was going to help her to help other people to see that you can get to the other side. No matter how bad your situation is today, you can get to the other side. You just got to press through, which I agree. And even in this show, though we didn't see that resolution, I feel like it was necessary. And the reason why I feel like it was necessary, sometimes when people have a goal in mind, we can see how other things can sidetrack that and prolong it from happening. So just because it didn't happen in the 6 weeks does not mean that Tamar cannot eventually get there. This is just a part of her journey. This is a small part of her journey that we got a chance to see captured on tape. Right? And it was very awkward to see, but it was necessary for us to see that. And it's probably necessary for her to see it. The hardest thing for any person to do is to look at themselves and see, it's me. It's me. whoa, 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 it's me, it's me standing in the way of me getting to that next better version of myself. Other people can do things, circumstances can come into your life, but ultimately how you respond to it, how you allow it to impact your life, you are in that driver's seat. And I feel like when Tamar looks back at this show and she sees, the different things where had she kind of faced it head on, it could have prevented a lot of the unnecessary shenanigans. I feel like when Tamar looks back and she see this, she will see that there's different things. What could I have done differently in these circumstances? What could I have done differently? I think the main thing is what we see that didn't happen in here was boundaries. That was the boundaries wasn't set. The boundaries wasn't set because that prevented us from being able to see her and Vince co-parenting. I think we had a missed opportunity there. David shut that down. So there should have been boundaries. There should have been boundaries to say, no, this is my story and this is what I want, folks to see. This is part of my life. I don't want to shut that portion out. So no, put your foot down. And then when it comes to the dream work, if she was on board with it, at least on camera. I don't know what she was saying off camera to David, but what we saw, she was on board with it. If David had a problem with it, she had already addressed it one time with Goldie and told Goldie, this work is between me and you. Never mind, David, this is our work and I believe in this work and I want to see it through. Then she should have had that conversation with David. When David was like, no, I want to talk to Goldie again. She should have said, no, David, it's just a 6 weeks process. Let me go through this process. No. I feel like you've already had enough conversation and I think that this is getting ready to go down the wrong road. So just let me finish this process. Set your foot down, get those boundaries. Goldie, you can't talk to my man like that. You're not going to come up in here cussing nobody out. Boundaries. Let's keep it professional. It's not going to go there. It was just, you have to keep boundaries because then you start putting people in these awkward positions and then you feel like you're caught in the middle. So you got to set your foot down and say, this is what's allowable and this is not. Simple as that. I feel like there was a missed opportunity in the show. We could have saw the relationship between her and Vince, how they're co-parenting because they seem to have a good relationship now. Let's see how that's working. We could also have saw the completion of the song that she was working on. I think that would have been a great way to end the show. We could have had a video premiere or something of that song. I think that would have been awesome. We could have also saw, her beginning steps into owning her role in the relationships with her and her sisters, whether her sisters ready or not. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to start the work as far as what I need to do to heal my relationship with my sister. We could have saw a little bit more of her healing herself, because sometimes you got to heal yourself before you're ready for that. So even if she wasn't ready to have that conversation with her sisters, we could have saw her healing herself. Okay, I'm giving myself permission to forgive myself for this. I'm giving myself permission to prepare for this. And then that kind of could have helped us see her preparing, even if we didn't see that relationship change right then and there, we could see that the steps that she's taken to it. Mona felt like she was closing them out a lot because she was like, even when we was there trying to tape, there was a lots of portion things that was happening behind the scenes that we couldn't catch. And Tamar was like, well, this wasn't for your eyes to see. And Mona said, I beg to differ, because those things that happened behind the scenes or behind closed doors led to Goldie exit. And when we sat down with you, you told me you was going to let me in. You was going to let me in. You was going to let me see the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I feel like Tamar, because she does care about her image, as we all do, I feel like that she wanted us to see the good, talk a little bit about the bad, but she didn't want us to really see that bad and that ugly side. And sometimes you got to see the bad and the ugly to get to that beautiful side again. So again, I was a little disappointed, but then when I thought back on it, I was like, well, this part was necessary. It might have been uncomfortable. It might not have been the best light that she wanted us to see or for her to see of herself, but sometimes we have to see that side so then we can change that side. So I feel like it was necessary. It was necessary for her to experience it. Unfortunately, it just was witnessed by a whole lot of other folks but she is a public figure, so I'm pretty sure she's used to this portion. All right, so that's it. That is my final thoughts on this final word of Tamar Get Your Life. I was just very conflicted with, the show. I felt a little disappointed because I wanted to see something different, but then at the same time, I was able to think about it differently and say, it was necessary. It was necessary. So if you agree, please drop your comments down below. Let me know what your thoughts are on Tamar Get Your Life. Did we just waste a whole 6 weeks? Or were we able to pull some stuff out of this? I feel like I was able to pull something out of it. So I feel like it was necessary, but I would love to hear what you think. And if you enjoyed the time with me, please go ahead and share, like, and subscribe. I'm thinking about if I want to do the family values. So, you can let me know if you would like to see some of those reviews. Let me know. If so, we'll keep this thing going. All right. Like, share, and subscribe because I will be coming to you with more content one way or another. All right. See you in the next video. Bye now.